Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine not just hearing these words, but feeling them move through you like a current. I'm not here to entertain your intellect. I'm here to awaken something you've always had but forgotten how to use. I will teach you how to feel it. You have been taught to think your way through life, to analyze, to plan, to scheme, but you were never told that the true key lies not in the thinking, but in the feeling. The feeling is the secret doorway, the unseen realm that gives birth to the seen. Everything you now see around you, every circumstance, every relationship, every dollar in your account, it all began in the inner world, in your feeling, not in your words, not in your actions, not even in your desires, but in the sensation that you already had what you were yearning for. If you can feel something as though it were true, regardless of what your senses say, you set into motion forces that are greater than logic, stronger than time. To feel it is to claim it. To feel it is to embody it. Let me tell you something the world will not. You are not here to observe reality. You are here to create it. You are the operant power. What you assume with feeling becomes your world. Not because the universe is some cold machine of rewards and punishments, but because your inner world is projecting itself outward every second of every day. The world is a mirror, and you cannot trick the mirror. You cannot smile at it while frowning inside and expect the reflection to change. You must feel the smile first, and the mirror will obey. Let's say you want love. You can beg for it, pray for it, chase it, or manipulate it, and you will only push it further away. But if you will go within and feel yourself already loved, already chosen, already cherished, then that feeling becomes flesh. That vibration will draw to you what you already accepted in the silence of your being. It is not enough to say, I am rich, while your heart trembles in fear. It is not enough to say, I am healed, while your inner man still bows to sickness. The outer man speaks from logic, but the inner man speaks from feeling, and the inner man is the true you. Your life follows your feeling like a shadow follows the body. What you consistently feel to be true of yourself, your life becomes. Even if the world says otherwise, even if your bank account says otherwise, even if your past screams otherwise. Your present feeling creates your future fact. You must learn to enter the state of the wish fulfilled. Not tomorrow, now, this very moment. Enter it, live in it, breathe in it, sleep in it, and most importantly, feel it. Ask yourself, if it were already true, how would I feel? Would you walk differently, speak differently, think differently? Then start now. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and carry it like perfume on your skin. And here's the great paradox. The world will resist you until it yields. It may delay, but it cannot deny. For the world is only echoing what you dare to feel. Persist in the feeling, and the facts will bow. Do not wait for the evidence. Feel it before the evidence. That is how you bend reality. That is how you walk on water. That is how you speak to mountains and watch them move. You are not a victim of the world around you. You are the maker of the world within you. And when that world changes, everything changes. So I say again, I will teach you how to feel it. And in that feeling, you will remember who you truly are. Feeling is the creative force that undergirds all manifestation. It is not mere thought, wish, or verbal affirmation that brings things into being. It is the emotional acceptance of the thing desired as already real. Thought alone is abstract. It flutters and fades like wind through leaves. But feeling sinks deep into the soul, lodges itself into the subconscious, and begins its silent work of reshaping the world around you. When you feel something to be true, even in the absence of evidence, you give it life. You plant the seed in the unseen, and it must bear fruit in the seen. Many people try to think their way into success, love, or healing. They repeat affirmations, they visualize with effort, they make plans and take action, and yet they remain frustrated, because beneath all of that, they feel the opposite. They say, I am wealthy, but feel poor. They say, I am loved, but feel lonely. The subconscious does not respond to what is said. It responds only to what is felt to be true. Feeling is the language of the inner man, and it is the inner man who creates the outer world. To feel is to impress upon the subconscious a state of being. The feeling of already having what you desire is a declaration, not to the world, but to yourself, that the thing is yours now. It is not future tense. It is not I will be. It is I am. This feeling of possession, of fulfillment, is the creative act. It is as if you already have the thing, and your inner self knows it. When this feeling becomes natural, habitual, and accepted, the outer world begins to mirror it back to you. This is why it is not enough to think positively. You may say all the right words and do all the right things, but if your emotional core remains rooted in doubt, fear, or lack, those are the seeds you are planting. The universe is impartial. It reflects your inner state without judgment. You cannot deceive it by saying one thing while feeling another. You cannot feel lack and manifest abundance. You cannot feel sickness and manifest health. What you feel deeply and consistently, you become. The most powerful creative moments occur not when you are trying to force something, but when you rest in the feeling of its reality. It's the feeling you have after a prayer, when you know you've been heard. It's the peace that comes when the desire no longer feels distant, but present. You're no longer trying to get it. You're living from it. And this feeling draws to you the people, circumstances, and opportunities that align with it. Children do this naturally. They pretend with total conviction. When they play house or imagine they are kings or astronauts, they feel it so fully that it becomes real to them in that moment. That purity of feeling, untouched by doubt or resistance, is what creates. Adults, however, complicate things. They overthink, they analyze, they wait for evidence before they allow themselves to feel. But the law of creation is this: feel first, and the fact will follow. To master this principle is to reclaim your power. It means no longer reacting to appearances, but shaping them by your inner certainty. Your life is not a matter of chance. It is a reflection of what you have dared to feel as true. When you feel rich, you begin to make rich decisions. When you feel loved, you begin to attract love. When you feel whole, your body begins to obey. Feeling is not weakness. It is the strongest force you possess, and it is the doorway to the life you were meant to live. You are not here to merely react to what life gives you. You are not at the mercy of fate, circumstances, or external forces. The world has taught you to believe that you are a victim of what happens around you, of your upbringing, of the economy, of luck, of timing. But that is not the truth. The truth is far more powerful, far more liberating. You are the operant power. Nothing happens in your world unless you first imagine and accept it within yourself. This is not metaphor, this is law. You are not a passive observer of life. You are the cause behind the effects. Every assumption you hold, every feeling you sustain, every identity you internalize, these are not meaningless thoughts drifting through your mind. They are creative acts. The world you experience is the outpicturing of those inner states. If you believe that life is hard, that money is scarce, that love never lasts, then life will faithfully reflect those beliefs. But if you change your assumptions, if you assume that life bends to your inner certainty, that abundance surrounds you, that love is yours and it is good, then your external world must change to match that new inner truth. You do not need permission from the world to change. You do not need proof. You only need to decide within yourself what is real for you and then live from that decision. The world outside is a mirror, not a master. It cannot initiate, it can only reflect. So stop asking, what is happening to me, and start asking, what am I assuming to be true? Because your assumptions, fueled by feeling, are the blueprint, they are the unseen cause of the seen result. This is why no one can create your life for you. No matter how much someone loves you, prays for you, or supports you, they cannot assume or feel for you. The operant power is within you. It is not external. And this is the greatest responsibility and the greatest gift you will ever be given. You cannot delegate it, you cannot outsource it, and you cannot escape it. But once you accept it, you become free. You begin to see that nothing in your past has the power to define you unless you continue to feel it in the present. You begin to understand that delays are not denials, but merely the time it takes for the outer world to conform to the new inner state you have chosen. And you begin to realize that no one is stopping you but you. Not God, not fate, not others, only the assumptions you have chosen to believe in and feel as true. You don't need to manipulate people, force outcomes, or beg the universe. You simply need to assume the end, feel the wish fulfilled, and persist in that inner state until it hardens into fact. You act, think, and live from the end, not toward it. That's what the operant power does. It moves as if the thing desired is already done. It doesn't question how. It doesn't negotiate with appearances. It simply knows. And because it knows, the world obeys. So many wait for signs before they believe. But the operant power reverses the order. It believes first, and then the signs appear. You are that power. The world you want is not found out there. It is shaped from within. You do not observe reality. You generate it. And once you accept this, life begins to obey the law of your inner world. To assume the wish fulfilled means to mentally and emotionally inhabit the state of your desire as if it were already a present reality. It is not wishful thinking, nor is it daydreaming. It is a deliberate act of faith, imagination, and inner conviction. It is living from the end, not merely thinking of the end. When you assume the wish fulfilled, you close the gap between desire and manifestation, not by effort or force, but by becoming inwardly what you seek to outwardly express. Most people wait to see before they believe. They want the evidence first, the money in the account, the ring on the finger, the healing in the body, before they allow themselves to feel secure, loved, or free. But that is the backwards way. The true creative power is activated when you believe before you see, when you dare to feel the reality of your desire. Even in the absence of proof, you invite the unseen to become seen. You impress the subconscious with a new pattern, and the subconscious, ever faithful, sets in motion the chain of events that must bring about the physical equivalent of that inner feeling. Assuming the wish fulfilled is not pretending. It is not trying to act as if in a hollow way. It is a quiet, confident acceptance that the thing longed for is already yours. You stop yearning for it, you stop waiting for it, you stop striving. Instead, you settle into the feeling of already being the person who has it. You feel the relief, the joy, the gratitude that would naturally arise if your desire were true. Because in your inner world, it already is. This inner movement is subtle yet powerful. You might not see immediate changes in the outer world, but something has shifted inside you. The old self, who believed in lack, in separation, in delay, begins to dissolve. In its place stands a new self, one who moves with certainty, peace, and expectancy. And from that state, your actions, words, and decisions align with the reality you have assumed. The world, being a mirror, begins to bend. If you desire abundance, you must feel the richness of life now, not after the check arrives, but now. Feel the safety, the ease, the confidence that abundance brings. If you desire love, feel the warmth of companionship now. Not when someone calls, but now. If you desire healing, feel whole now, not after the diagnosis changes, but now. This is the creative act. You are not conjuring something from nothing. You are recognizing a deeper truth and allowing it to express itself through you. When you persist in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you change your self-concept. You are no longer the one who lacks, but the one who has. You are no longer outside the experience, hoping for entry. You are inside it, living it. This changes how you see the world and how the world sees you. It is not magic, but law. Your inner world must externalize, and what you accept as true within must appear without. You may still have moments of doubt. The world may still look the same for a time. But if you remain faithful to the state of the wish fulfilled, if you return to it day after day, not as a task, but as a natural dwelling place, then the outer must conform. You are not chasing a dream, you are embodying a truth. You are living from the end, and in doing so you draw it to you, not through striving. Your five senses are not the rulers of your reality, they are the servants. They report what is, not what can be. If you live your life solely according to what you see, hear, touch, taste, and smell, you are confined to the world of appearances, a world that reflects your past thoughts and feelings, not your current power. To create something new, something greater, you must learn to ignore the senses when they contradict your desire. You must learn to trust the unseen over the seen, the invisible over the visible, the promise over the proof. The moment you set an intention, the moment you define a desire and feel its fulfillment, you step into a new state. But if you turn back to the senses and ask, is it here yet? You step out of that state. The senses will almost always present facts that contradict your vision. The bank account may still show lack. The body may still feel pain. The world may still reflect old conditions. But these are echoes of former beliefs, not indicators of what must continue. You are not meant to wait for the world to show you evidence before you allow yourself to feel differently. That is the pattern of delay and disappointment. Instead, you feel first, before the healing, before the breakthrough, before the blessing. And that inner shift begins to draw in a new world. Feeling is the cause, the senses are the effect. To let your senses dictate your beliefs is to allow the effect to control the cause, which traps you in a loop of repetition. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Faith lives in the realm beyond the senses. It does not argue with appearances. It does not need confirmation. It walks in the dark as if in light, speaks as though it has received, and moves as if the work is done. This is not fantasy. It is the very substance of creation. Every great change begins with someone who dared to believe in something invisible and refused to be talked out of it by their eyes and ears. To ignore the senses is not to deny their existence. You are not pretending that you don't see the difficulty or hear the negative report. You simply choose not to let those things dominate your inner world. You acknowledge them without surrendering to them. You look beyond them, not because you're blind, but because you know that what is seen is temporary, and what is unseen is eternal. The seed buried in the soil shows no sign of growth to the eye, but it is becoming something far greater than what appears. And so it is with the seed of your inner vision. When you feel abundance while appearances still say lack, you are not lying to yourself. You are creating a new truth. When you feel loved while alone, you are not delusional. You are embodying the vibration that calls love to you. When you feel healthy while your body still aches, you are not being unrealistic. You are shifting into the state from which healing flows. You must become unmoved by appearances and anchored in vision. The world will eventually catch up, but it does not lead, you do. The outer follows the inner. So choose to dwell in the reality you've imagined, even when nothing around you confirms it. The more you return to that inner state, the more powerfully the world will begin to bend, not because the world changed on its own, but because you changed, and reality had no choice but to follow. The world around you is not fixed. It is not solid in the way you've been taught to believe. It is fluid, responsive, malleable, shaped and reshaped by your dominant inner state. Reality is not something that happens to you, it is something that flows from you. Every condition, every event, every circumstance you encounter is the echo of a state you have occupied within. You may not have done so consciously, but you did so nonetheless. The law is always working, always unfolding your assumptions into form. At first, this truth feels difficult to accept. You look at your life and see things that feel outside your control, hardships, losses, delays. You think, how could this have come from within me? But reality is not instantly responsive. It has a lag. The world you're seeing today is the product of yesterday's states, the accumulated momentum of your inner being. So when you change your inner state, when you assume a new feeling, a new identity, the old world may still echo the past. This is where many falter. They give up too soon. They assume nothing is working. But they are wrong. The outer reality is catching up to the new inner law. The inner state is like a new seed planted in the soil. The soil doesn't reject the seed. It accepts it. But it takes time for the roots to form, for the shoot to break through, for the fruit to appear. During that time, the field may still look barren, the old growth may still stand, but the new life is there, silently pushing upward. And so it is with your consciousness. You assume the feeling of wealth, or love, or freedom, and for a while the world may still appear cold, empty, or resistant. But if you persist, the old conditions must dissolve, and the new must arise. To persist in a state, even when the outer world denies it, is the path of mastery. This is where the weak turn back and the strong move forward. The weak look at appearances and say it's not working. The strong look within and say it is done. The world may mock your faith, your vision, your certainty, but that means nothing. Eventually it must yield. The outer is clay in the hands of the inner craftsman. If you live from a state of already having, already being, already knowing, then that state becomes your home. And from that home you begin to act differently, speak differently, walk differently. These shifts may seem small, but they ripple outward. People respond to you differently. Opportunities find their way to you. Circumstances begin to align. It feels like coincidence, like luck. But it is the reflection of a new state claiming its place in your life. So when the world resists, when it looks the same, when nothing seems to budge, don't retreat. Don't react. Don't surrender to appearances. Instead, dig deeper into the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Live from it, not toward it. Speak as though it is done. Think as though you have received. Act as though you are already changed. Because you are. And when your inner state becomes more real to you than the world outside will be forced to change. It always does. It must. So now, the choice is yours. You can continue to react to what the world shows you, or you can begin to create from within. Persist in the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Let your inner state become your dwelling place. And no matter how long the world resists, know this: it must, it will, it always does yield. There are moments in our lives when we meet someone or something comes into our path and we feel drawn. It may be a relationship, a business partnership, a circle of influence, or even an opportunity that looks like a blessing from heaven. And yet something feels off. Deep in your spirit there's a whisper, a quiet unease, a check in your heart. You may not understand it in the moment, but it is the still, small voice of God telling you, they are not for you. It's one of the hardest things to accept in life, that someone or something you've grown attached to, maybe even prayed for, isn't meant for you. It hurts and it confuses us. We wonder, why, Lord? Why would you allow me to meet them? Why did you let this door open in the first place? And yet the Bible is filled with moments where God intervenes to say no, not because he wants to punish, but because he wants to protect. You see, not every open door is God's door. Not every smiling face is sent from heaven. The enemy knows how to counterfeit. He knows how to wrap deception in charm and wrap destruction in beauty. That's why we must walk not by sight, but by faith. Faith listens to the voice of the shepherd. Faith discerns beyond what the eyes can see and the heart can feel. Faith says, Lord, not my will, but yours be done. There's a passage in the book of Proverbs that says, there is a way that seems right to a man, but its end is the way of death. Oh, how many times we have gone after what seemed right, only to find ourselves in pain. We ran after that relationship thinking it would complete us. We chased that opportunity, believing it would elevate us. But God who sees the end from the beginning, was speaking all along, saying, that's not for you. I have something better. Some of you are holding on to people God already told you to let go of. You're clinging to relationships that are draining you, distorting your purpose, pulling you away from your calling. You know it. God has nudged you in the quiet of night. He's whispered it through scripture, through sermons, through that inner stillness that keeps getting stirred. But you're afraid. You're afraid of being alone. You're afraid of what people will say. You're afraid that if you let go, nothing better will come. But let me tell you something. When God says no, it is never to harm you. It is to heal you. When he removes someone from your life, he's not subtracting, he's protecting. He knows what you cannot see. He sees their heart. He sees the future. He sees the conversations behind your back. He sees the destruction down the road. And he loves you too much to let you walk blindly into ruin. Think of Abraham. God told him to leave everything familiar, his land, his people, his father's house, and go to a place he would show him. But Abraham brought Lot with him. God didn't tell him to bring Lot, and for a time everything looked fine. But then came the conflict, the strife, the division. Abraham had to face the truth. Lot wasn't meant to go where he was going. Some people are only meant to be in your life for a season. They were part of your past, not your destiny. Jesus himself dealt with this. The Bible tells us that many followed him, but not all stayed. Some walked with him no more after he preached truth. Some betrayed him. And yet, he never chased them. He never begged them to stay. He stayed faithful to his mission. He stayed faithful to the Father. He stayed true to his calling. And we must do the same. When God says they're not for you, don't argue, don't plead, don't bargain. Trust him. Trust that the one who knit you together in your mother's womb knows what you need more than you do. Trust that he can bring the right people into your life at the right time. Trust that his plans are higher than your plans and his ways greater than your ways. Too many of us are living with delayed blessings because we're holding on to the wrong people. God cannot bless disobedience. He will not pour new wine into old wineskins. He will not open new doors until you've closed the ones he told you to shut. And let me say this with all the love I have. Obedience will cost you. It will cost you comfort. It will cost you relationships. It will cost you popularity. But oh, the reward of walking in God's will, it's worth it all. Some of you are in a relationship that looks good on the outside. They say all the right things. They know how to talk about God. They attend church. But deep down, they don't bear the fruit of the Spirit. There's no peace. There's no spiritual alignment. Every time you try to grow in God, there's resistance. Every time you try to obey, they pull you back. That's not love. That's bondage. God didn't call you to be bound. He called you to be free. Freedom comes when we surrender. Freedom comes when we let go. Freedom comes when we say, Lord, I may not understand, but I trust you. I trust that you're closing this door for a reason. I trust that if you're removing this person, you're making room for something better. I trust that no good thing will you withhold from those who walk uprightly. You cannot walk in power if you're walking with people who drain your purpose. You cannot walk in peace if you're surrounded by people who carry chaos. You cannot walk in purity if you're entangled with people who glorify sin. The Bible says, bad company corrupts good character. You can't say, I'll stay and change them. You are not their savior. Jesus is. Your job is to obey. I've seen lives derailed because someone didn't listen when God said no. I've seen young people fall into despair because they ignored the warning signs. They married someone God never approved. They partnered with someone who had no integrity. They built a life on sinking sand. And the storm came, it always does, and their house fell. Not because God didn't love them, but because they... But I've also seen the other side. I've seen people who surrendered. I've seen hearts break in obedience, only to be healed in God's time. I've seen tears of letting go turn into testimonies of breakthrough. I've seen loneliness give birth to purpose. I've seen God restore what was lost and give back more than what was taken. And I've seen the faithfulness of God shine brighter than ever in the lives of those who obeyed his voice. The enemy wants you to think that God's no is a punishment, but it's not. It's preparation. It's protection. It's provision in disguise. Every time God says they're not for you, he's pointing you toward something greater. He's pointing you toward something greater. He's aligning your life with his perfect plan. He's setting you apart. Because you were not created to blend in. You were created to shine. You were created to walk in holiness, in purpose, in power. Don't compromise to keep someone who doesn't belong in your destiny. Don't sacrifice your peace to hold on to what God told you to release. Don't trade your calling for temporary company. What God has for you is worth the wait. The right people will not require you to shrink, to sin, or to stray from the truth. The right people will sharpen you, strengthen you, and lead you closer to God. So if you're in a season of release, take heart. If God is removing people, rejoice. It may feel like loss, but it's gain. It may feel like death, but it's new life. He's pruning you for greater fruit. He's shaping you for a new season. And though it may not make sense now, one day you'll look back and say, "Thank you, Lord, for not giving me what I wanted. Thank you for saving me from what I thought I needed." The road of obedience is not always easy, but it is always right. When God says they're not for you, he's speaking from a place of eternal wisdom. Listen, yield, obey, because the one who spoke the stars into existence, who formed you in secret, who carried you through every storm, he knows what he's doing, and he has never failed. And even now, as you sit with that stirring in your heart, some of you know exactly who or what God is asking you to release. It's not vague, it's not unclear. He has been patient with you. He has given you sign after sign, but you've been holding on because of fear, because of comfort, or because you've wrapped your identity in that person or that situation. But child of God, your identity is not in them. It is in Christ. You are not defined by who left, who stayed, or who rejected you. You are defined by the one who chose you before the foundation of the world. The heart is a fragile thing. It loves deeply, sometimes foolishly, often blindly. We all want connection. We all want to be seen, known, understood. But when we place that desire above God's will, it becomes an idol. And idols always demand more than they give. They take your peace, they take your time, they take your focus, and eventually they take your joy. That's why God must tear them down. Not because he's cruel, but because he's a jealous God. Not jealous the way we think of it, but jealous in love. Jealous to protect your heart from what will destroy it. God doesn't just want you to be busy, he wants you to be fruitful. And sometimes, to bear fruit, he must cut away the branches that no longer serve his purpose. He will prune your relationships. He will sift your circle. He will sanctify your attachments. Because there's a difference between what is good to us and what is good for us. Not every smile is sincere. Not every companion is covenant. Not every connection is divine. Discernment, beloved, is one of the greatest gifts you can pray for in this hour. We live in a time where feelings are exalted as truth, but feelings lie. Emotions fluctuate. What you feel today may not be what you feel tomorrow. That's why we don't walk by feelings, we walk by faith. And faith sometimes says, "I don't understand this, Lord, but I trust you enough to obey." The kind of faith that moves mountains is also the kind of faith that can walk away from something that looks good, smells good, feels good, but you don't have to wait until the storm to know if someone is from God. What's the fruit? Jesus said, "You will know them by their fruits." Are you growing closer to the Lord with them? Is your soul more alive or more weary? Are you flourishing in faith or constantly battling confusion? God is not the author of confusion. His Spirit brings clarity, conviction, and peace. If you're constantly torn, always second-guessing, never at rest, stop and listen. That may be God's way of saying they're not for you. And what's tragic is that many people ignore this still small voice because they want so badly for the answer to be yes. So they silence the warning. They drown it out with noise, with distraction, with justification. Maybe I'm just being too picky. Maybe I'm overthinking it. No one's perfect, but deep inside, the Spirit groans. God doesn't speak to confuse, He speaks to save. His voice is not always loud, but it is consistent. And when He says no, He means it for your good. Think of Samson, a man with strength beyond comprehension, chosen by God from birth, set apart with the Nazirite vow. But Samson had a weakness for women who are not part of God's plan. He chased after Delilah, despite every warning, every red flag, every betrayal. And what happened? He lost his strength, his sight, and his purpose. Bound in chains, grinding in the enemy's prison. His downfall wasn't because God stopped loving him. It was because he refused to listen. God will never force you to obey. He gives you choice. But understand this, every choice has consequences. And when you go against God's direction, you may get what you wanted, but you'll lose what you needed. Peace, favor, protection, clarity. Those things don't live where disobedience dwells. And no amount of temporary pleasure can compensate for the pain of missing God's best. But here's the good news. God is merciful. Even when we go the wrong way, His love calls us back. Even when we bind ourselves to the wrong people, His grace gives us a way out. He redeems, He restores, He renews. But you must be willing to surrender. You must be willing to say, Lord, I made a mistake. I chose wrong. I trusted my heart over your voice. But now I come back to you. And when you do, He'll meet you. He'll gather the broken pieces and build something beautiful. Some of you are in a season of confusion right now. You're torn between what you feel and what you know God is saying. And that's where the battle lies. But hear me, if you wait for the feelings to go away before you obey, you may wait forever. Obedience is not about emotion, it's about submission. It's about aligning your will with God's will, even when it hurts, even when it means walking alone, even when it means letting go without closure. Don't be afraid of loneliness. Sometimes the loneliest seasons are the holiest. It's in the wilderness that God speaks clearest. It's in the quiet that He reveals what you were too distracted to hear before. Let Him detox your soul. Let Him purge the residue of unhealthy connections. Let Him rewire your heart, because when He brings the right people into your life, you'll recognize them by the peace they carry, by the joy they bring, by the purpose they activate in you. God is not just in the business of fixing. He's in the business of building. He doesn't patch holes, He lays new foundations. And that means tearing down what was never built on truth. That may look like friendships fading, that may feel like rejection, but in the kingdom, rejection is often redirection. God isn't taking something from you, He's preparing something for you. Don't curse the cutting. Don't despise the detour. Don't mourn the pruning. Praise Him in the middle of it. Praise Him through the tears. Praise Him while you wait. For some, the issue isn't just people, it's places. You're in environments God told you to leave. You're attached to atmospheres that war against your spirit. And you know it. Every time you walk into that room, your spirit sinks. Every time you engage in those conversations, you feel compromised. God is saying, not for you either. Just because you were there before doesn't mean you're meant to stay. God's assignments evolve, His plans move, and when He moves, you must move with Him. Some of you are attached to a version of yourself that no longer exists. You're holding on to your past because it's familiar, not because it's fruitful. But God is doing a new thing. He's calling you into deeper waters. He's inviting you to leave the shore, and yes, it's scary. Yes, it's uncomfortable. But you were not created to live in the safety of the shallow. You were made for depth, for destiny, for divine alignment. When you let go of what's not for you, you make room for what is. And what God has for you will not require you to beg. It will not manipulate you. It will not confuse you. It will not lead you into sin. It will confirm your calling. It will amplify your faith. It will bring you closer to the cross. You will know it by the Spirit. You will know it by the peace that passes understanding. But here's the final truth. If you want to hear God clearly, you must be willing to obey whatever He says. Some people don't hear God because they only want Him to confirm their will, not reveal His. But God doesn't speak to entertain. He speaks to be obeyed. If you want revelation, you must be prepared for obedience, even when it costs you, even when it breaks your heart, even when it makes no sense. You may lose people, but you'll gain purpose. You may shed tears, but you'll walk in truth. You may feel the sting of separation, but you'll know the strength of sanctification. Because in the end, it's not about them. It's about Him, His will, His glory, His plan for your life. And that, beloved, is always worth it. And as you walk through this valley of separation, of letting go, of surrender, know that God walks with you. He is not distant from your pain. He is not indifferent to your tears. He collects them. He remembers every silent prayer, every aching night, every moment you chose obedience over comfort. That sacrifice is not forgotten. That trust is not in vain. For every tear you sow in faith, you will reap in joy. The pain of release is often the preparation for resurrection. The enemy will whisper that you made a mistake, that you'll never find someone better, that you'll be alone forever. But the devil is a liar. And the only reason he's speaking so loudly is because he knows what's coming. He knows that when you finally align with God's will, when you finally shut the doors that should have never been opened, heaven begins to move on your behalf. Breakthrough begins to stir. Purpose begins to awaken, and you become dangerous to the kingdom of darkness, because you are no longer living for your own will, but for the will of the Father. Sometimes the biggest blessings are hidden behind the hardest decisions, and sometimes the clearest answers come when you finally stop asking everyone else and start asking God alone. He's not hiding His will from you. He's waiting for you to want it more than your own. He's waiting for your heart to be quiet enough to hear Him. And when you hear Him say, let go, don't delay, don't argue, don't plead for exceptions, just trust. Trust that He's not just taking something away, He's leading you into something holy, something beautiful, something eternal. There is a peace that only comes on the other side of obedience, a stillness in your soul, a clarity in your mind, a joy that isn't dependent on who stays or who leaves. That peace is worth everything. It's worth the silence. It's worth the tears. It's worth the loss. Because in that peace, you find Him. And when you have Him, you have everything. So when God says they're not for you, listen. Don't hesitate. Don't negotiate. Trust His voice above your feelings. His ways are higher, His thoughts are wiser, and His love for you is perfect. What He removes, He replaces. What He withholds, He redeems. What He calls you to let go of, He has already prepared something greater in its place. And though the path may feel lonely at times, you will never walk it alone. The one who calls you is faithful, and He will finish what He started in you. Trust Him, obey Him, and He will lead you into the life you were always meant to live.
Everything you experience in the outer world is a direct reflection of your inner state. The life you are living is not happening to you. It is happening through you, your thoughts, your feelings, your assumptions, your inner conversations. They are not idle. They are creative. They are forming the substance of your world. To manifest faster, you must vibrate higher. But what does that mean? It means aligning yourself with the reality you wish to see, embodying it, and dwelling in the feeling of its truth until it hardens into fact. You are not here to wait for life to change. You are here to awaken to the truth that you are the change. The key to manifesting quickly is not found in straining or begging or chasing after things. It is found in rising within, elevating your emotional state, your mental imagery, your faith, your vision of self, until your very being is in resonance with the thing desired. And once you align with it in consciousness, the outer must conform. There is no power outside of you determining your fate. All power resides within, and when you realize this, you step into the most sacred truth of existence. You are the operant power. What you assume to be true, what you accept without question, what you feel deeply and persistently, that becomes your world. It matters not what appears before your eyes. The outer is always a delayed echo of a former belief. So if you do not like what you see, do not fight it. Change the route, shift the vibration, lift the feeling, claim the higher truth. To vibrate higher is to choose thoughts that match your divine identity, to hold images that inspire life and hope, to speak only what you want to come to pass. It is to feel gratitude before the gift arrives. It is to know that the moment you imagine something with feeling, it begins its journey toward you. And the faster you can dwell in that state, the quicker it will appear. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you are conscious of being. All things are created in consciousness first. This is the secret of secrets. Nothing is real to you until you accept it as real. If you desire love, you must first become the embodiment of love. If you long for abundance, you must feel rich in spirit, generous in thought, and grateful in expectation. If you want to be healed, you must no longer identify with the sick, the broken, or the fearful. You must claim the health, the wholeness, the radiance as if it already is, for in truth it is. Your higher self dwells in certainty, not doubt. It does not wish, it knows. It does not beg, it creates. It does not look outward, it looks within. The reason many delay their manifestations is because they continue to vibrate in the frequency of lack, of waiting, of someday. But what you push into the future remains there. The only moment that holds creative power is now. You must feel the wish fulfilled now, not tomorrow, not when the bank account changes, not when the phone rings, now. To vibrate higher is to close your eyes to appearances and open them to vision. It is to dare to feel rich when the wallet is empty. It is to feel loved when the bed is cold. It is to feel powerful when the world says you're not enough. This is not delusion. It is the purest form of truth. Because you are not defined by the temporary, the fleeting, or the visible. You are defined by the eternal, the unseen, the limitless I am within you. Your imagination is not a plaything. It is the womb of reality. Whatever you imagine consistently and accept as true will take form. Not because of luck or magic or effort, but because your consciousness is the only cause. Raise the quality of your imagination, and you raise the quality of your life. Picture not what you fear. Picture what you long to see, and picture it with the vividness of a dream you never want to end. Emotion is the fuel of creation. When you imagine something with strong feeling, you give it life. When you feel joy, gratitude, relief, or peace over the thing you desire, before it comes, you are saying to the universe, it is done, and the universe cannot help but echo that declaration. But if you imagine with doubt, with fear, with resistance, then you are vibrating low, and you delay the very thing you seek. To manifest faster, you must release the energy of desperation. You must rise into the state of already having. Speak it as if it's here. Walk as if it's yours. Think as one who already has it. This is not pretending. This is creative assumption. When you live from the end, you collapse time. The old man, the one who fears, doubts, and worries, must be crucified. The new man, the one who believes, sees, and knows, must rise. Every state is available to you now. You don't earn them. You choose them. You inhabit them. And when you do, the outer must reflect it. There is no delay in consciousness. The only delay is in your willingness to remain faithful to the state long enough for it to materialize. When you vibrate higher, you naturally hold your vision longer. You are not easily shaken. You do not seek confirmation. You already have it in the unseen. You were never meant to struggle for your desires. You were meant to rest in the assurance of their reality. The more effort you apply from a sense of lack, the more you signal to your world that you are without. But when you rest in knowing, when you feel it done, when you trust the unseen more than the seen, you are vibrating higher, and you allow the manifestation to unfold with ease. The law is simple. You become what you think you are, not what you say, not what you hope, but what you believe, feel, and persist in. If you want to know what you really believe, look at what you are living. Your current life is simply your past self made visible. So do not be disheartened. Rejoice, for now you know your power. You can change it all, not by willpower, not by external action, but by inner transformation. The world is a mirror, not a master. It reflects you. It does not rule you. When you vibrate higher, the mirror reflects higher. You do not fix the mirror. You change your face. You do not fight the reflection. You change the source. You are the source. When you remember this, nothing can stop your manifestations. Not time, not circumstance, not other people, for all things bend to the will of the awakened one. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. That is the secret. Make it natural, make it normal, make it your dwelling place. Not for 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes at night, but as often as you can. When doubt creeps in, return to the feeling. When the world distracts you, return to the vision. When nothing seems to be happening, persist anyway. Because in the unseen, everything is happening. You are not alone. You never have been. The entire universe is responding to you. Not your words, not your cries, but your state of being. Lift the state, and you lift your world. There is no difference between a small desire and a big one. The same law applies. The same principle rules them all. The question is not, can I have it? But am I willing to assume it now? To vibrate higher is to live in the kingdom within. It is to close your eyes to the storm and open your spirit to the calm. It is to realize that every time you enter the state of your fulfilled desire, you bring it closer, not by force, but by law. There is no luck in this. No one is favored. All are governed by the same principle. Consciousness becomes reality. So raise your consciousness, and you raise your reality. Your job is not to figure out how it will come. Your job is to know that it will. The bridge of events will unfold on its own. Let go of the when and the how, and focus on the what and the now. What do you want? Feel it now. Who do you want to be? Be it now. Not tomorrow, not when things change, now. This present moment is your point of power, and when you claim it fully, you will see how fast life bends to meet your vibration. Live as though it's already yours, and it shall be. Speak as though you are already blessed. And you shall be. Think as one who already walks in abundance, love, health, peace, and purpose. And you shall, because the law does not fail. The world will rearrange itself to match your persistent assumption. When you rise in consciousness, you rise in life. When you vibrate higher, you manifest faster. The moment you decide to stay loyal to the unseen, you step into true power. The outer world no longer has a hold over you, because you are anchored in something deeper, something eternal. The inner conviction that what you have imagined is already yours. Do not look to the senses for validation. The senses only report what was. They are late to the truth. The moment you imagine something vividly and feel it to be true, you have planted the seed. Your job is to water it with faith, nourish it with attention, and protect it from the weeds of doubt and fear. The harvest is certain. The only thing that ever delays it is your own wavering belief. There is no need to force anything. Creation is finished. Every possibility already exists. You are simply selecting states of consciousness, and whatever state you inhabit long enough becomes visible. That is why you must vibrate higher, not to impress, not to prove, but to align with the version of you who already has what you seek. That version exists now. You do not need to become it. You need only assume it. The moment you assume it and feel it to be true, you draw it from the invisible into the visible. What you entertain within becomes what you encounter without. If you carry images of lack, conflict, struggle, or despair, your world will mirror them. But if you carry images of peace, abundance, victory, and love, your world cannot help but bow to that frequency. Do not waste time trying to change others. There are no others. What you see in others is what you believe about yourself. Lift yourself, concept, and others will rise with you, or fade from your life entirely. You do not need to fight to make things happen. The higher you vibrate, the less resistance there is, the faster things come. Every desire carries its own vibrational signature. The moment you match it, you receive it. It is not a test, it is a law. If you want wealth, vibrate in the energy of having. Feel the freedom of it, the confidence of it, the gratitude for it. If you want love, vibrate in the energy of being loved. Feel chosen, treasured, embraced. If you want purpose, vibrate in the energy of fulfillment. Feel guided, useful, and aligned. You are always creating. The question is, are you doing it consciously or unconsciously? Are you operating from faith or fear? Fear is a misuse of imagination. It projects what you don't want and gives life to shadows, but imagination used with love is divine. It gives form to beauty, truth, and blessing. Choose what you see within, for that choice determines what you will live without. Many wait for conditions to change before they believe, but that is not how the law works. Believe first, and conditions must follow. Feel first, and manifestation must appear. You are never a victim of delay unless you agree to be. Time is a servant to the one who lives from the end. The outer world may take a moment to catch up, but if you remain faithful to the state of the wish fulfilled, you will be astonished at how quickly the bridge of events forms. Things you never could have planned will conspire for your good. Coincidences will multiply, opportunities will surface, the impossible will become natural. This is not fantasy, it is the truth of your being. You must learn to fall in love with the unseen. Speak to your desire as if it hears you. Thank it for coming, rejoice over it. Let it fill your heart with joy even before it arrives. When you do this, you shift your frequency from longing to having, from hoping to knowing, and it is the knowing that manifests. You do not need to convince anyone else. This is not a group effort. You are the only one you must persuade, for your world arises out of your own deep assumptions. There is no limit to what you can manifest except the limits you accept. If something feels far away, it is not because it is hard. It is because you are still vibrating in the energy of not having. The moment you shift, it begins to appear. The speed of your manifestations is determined by your emotional alignment. The more natural the assumption feels, the faster it shows up. And this naturalness can be cultivated by repetition, by immersion, by joyful expectation. Live your days as if your desire is already fulfilled. Speak only of what you want, think only of the outcomes you love, act only in ways that match your ideal self. This does not require effort, it requires attention, and attention is sacred. What you place your attention on grows. So place it wisely. Speak to yourself with love, with encouragement, with certainty. If the mind wanders, gently bring it back. If doubt arises, replace it with faith. You are training the garden of your mind. Plant what you wish to harvest. The law is impersonal. It does not care who you are, where you came from, or what your past was. It responds only to your present state. If you persist in the new state, the old must fall away. That is why nothing is too big, too late, or too difficult. You are not limited by past failures, missed chances, or closed doors. You are only limited by the story you continue to tell. So tell a new story. See yourself differently. Think from the mountaintop, not the valley. Speak as one who has conquered, not one who is trying. You are not here to beg for crumbs. You are here to awaken to the banquet already prepared. All that you desire is already yours in spirit. You must claim it by being it, and you are being it every time you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Imagination is not a pastime, it is creation. When you see yourself clearly in imagination, you instruct the world to organize itself accordingly. You send out a blueprint to be built in form. Everything is responding to you, the people, the circumstances, the timing. All of it bends to match your state. When you change your state, you change the whole show. You do not need to manipulate, force, or control. Simply remain in the desired state long enough, and it will externalize. This is not wishful thinking. It is the law in motion. Let go of effort born from fear. Rest in the feeling of fulfillment. Trust that what you desire also desires you. Trust that the moment you ask, it is given. Your job is not to make it happen. Your job is to receive it by being the version of you who already has it. That version already exists. You step into it by belief, by assumption, by imagination, by feeling, not by waiting. The state you dwell in is everything. Dwell in peace, and peace will find you. Dwell in abundance, and abundance will rush to meet you. Dwell in love, and love will wrap itself around your life. This is not mystical metaphor. It is spiritual law. You can vibrate higher now. You do not need anyone's permission. You do not need more time. You need only shift your attention. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. And where your energy flows, reality grows. If you ever doubt the process, return to the feeling. The feeling is the secret door. The feeling is the proof. Let your inner world become so vivid, so rich, so alive that the outer world has no choice but to match it. Persist in the state even when nothing seems to happen, especially then, for that is the moment you are being tested, not by some external force, but by your own concept. Will you remain loyal to the vision, or will you fall back into the old? The choice is always yours. And every time you choose faith, you strengthen the new pattern. Every time you affirm the reality of the unseen, you raise your vibration. Every time you imagine with feeling and gratitude, you collapse time. This is how you manifest faster, not through desperation, but through embodiment, not through trying harder, but through being more deeply. You are not just a participant in life. You are its author, and the pen is your assumption. You are not at the mercy of appearances. Appearances are at the mercy of your inner conviction. Live from the end, and the end will live through you. Vibrate higher, and reality will match your music. Speak life, think love, imagine abundance, and these shall be your harvest. You are never waiting on the world. The world is waiting on you. Remain faithful, then, to the unseen reality you have chosen within yourself. Do not waver when the outer world contradicts it, for the outer is always the last to change. The inner world is the cause, the outer merely the delayed reflection. If you have truly accepted something in consciousness, if you have felt it to be natural, then it must come. It has no choice. That is the nature of this law. It works perfectly, impersonally, and without exception. When doubt arises, understand that it is not a sign to give up, but a signal to deepen your faith. When things seem still, know that life is moving behind the scenes, adjusting, rearranging, bringing forth what you have accepted as real. The greatest test is in the silence between the imagining and the appearing. That is where most lose their footing. But if you can stand still in the knowing, if you can continue to feel, to believe, to live as if, then nothing can stop what is already yours by right of consciousness. What you desire is not outside you. It is within, waiting for recognition. You cannot want something unless it already exists as a potential within your being. You are not chasing dreams. You are remembering them. And in remembering, you awaken them, and in awakening, you give them form. The higher your vibration, the clearer the channel. The more natural your assumption, the faster the fulfillment. You are never denied. only delayed by disbelief. So rise, rise in thought, rise in speech, rise in identity, rise until the version of you who has everything is the only self you know. Think not of how things will come, but of who you are when they have. Walk in that energy, sleep in that knowing, speak from that place, and as surely as the sun rises, the evidence will come. You are the source of all that unfolds, and when you vibrate higher, you do not chase creation, you become it. So, choose this day to vibrate higher, not as a means of striving, but as a declaration of being. Assume the feeling of your wish, fulfilled, and live in it, faithfully and joyfully. Trust the unseen, for it is more real than anything your senses can confirm. The faster you align, the faster you manifest. You do not need to wait, worry, or wonder. The world reflects your inner state. So dwell in the state of already having, already being, already knowing, and reality will rise to meet you.